Okay, moving on to our next story, we have Marina Granlund from Sweden. Marina, it's all yours now.
Thank you. So, Marina Granlund from Sweden. I'm an actress, a storyteller, and I love to tell traditional stories from Sweden, and that is what you're supposed to hear today. Otherwise, mythologies are my big passion, both from the Nordic mythology, from the Greek mythologies, and now the last years I'm digging into the many stories from India. So today I'm gonna bring you to an old Swedish traditional story. So you're welcome. La randari da 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 di da randari da randari da rundi da da di randari da 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 di da randari da randari da da. Once there was a shoemaker. It was long ago. It was at the time of my grandfather. It was a young student that wanted to become a shoemaker. But he actually didn't want to be a shoemaker. He wanted to be a musician. He wanted to play the fiddle. But there was no one to teach him. There was no music schools at that time. And there was not even a master fiddler to teach him. One day, the young man sat and remembered the stories he had heard from his grandmother. He remembered the stories about the water spirit, Mr. Näcken. He's a shape-shifting spirit that lives in the lake or in the rivers. He can change himself into a beautiful gentleman, or he can change himself to a white horse that plays along the river. And sometimes he wants the children to jump up on his back. But he could also be the most beautiful musician, playing the violin, sitting at the waterfalls, all naked with his long gray hair and a red top on the head. He is the master of the masters. And the boy was thinking, maybe I can go and ask him if he wants to be my tutor, if he wants to be my teacher. Then he remembered, I have to bring something, a black cat without the white hair. And I have to go there Thursday night, maybe at full moon. So he catched that black cat. In these days, you could find them. Nowadays, they are rare to find. And with a cat in his arms, a Thursday night, he walked into the woods. He walked over the soft green moss. He walked over the small stones. He walked over stock and stone, as we say, until he came to the river banks. There he could listen. He could hear some clinging crystal clear tones coming from the waterfall. And there he could see a man sitting with his long hair and playing the violin, playing the fiddle. He took off his cap, he bowed, and he said, "Dear Mr. Näcken, I brought you a black cat, and I hope you would like to teach me how to play the violin I want to become a fiddler, but there is no one to teach me. Mr. Näcken said, you just bring me a piece of wood and a mutton violet. That is the loin of a sheep with a bone and the flesh. And you come back next Thursday. And so he did. Next Thursday, he was standing there with a beautiful piece of wood and the mutton violet. He left it on the riverbanks. And Mr. Näcken told him to come back. Next time it's full moon and Thursday night. And so the boy did. He was eager to learn. This time, Mr. Näcken told him to sit down, to sit on a rock. And he told him to whatever happens, whatever he hears or sees, he has to sit on that rock. You have to open your senses. You have to listen well and watch well and see what happens inside you, but stay on that rock. Because I will play you 10 beautiful songs. 10 beautiful songs. So listen carefully so that you remember them. And then I will play one extra song. I will play for you Näckens polska. But that is my song. You are never allowed to play it. Yeah, he was nodding. And so Näcken started to play the 10 beautiful dancing songs for all emotions, sad, beautiful, happy, angry, passionate, beautiful, until he came to the 10th song and he stopped. Remember, the next song, the 11 songs, that is mine. You just listen. Out of the river, there was a mist, there was a fog, a white mist, and suddenly he could see beautiful girls dancing out of the river. And they were dancing and they were trying to tempt him, asking him to join the dance. And they were dancing on the other side of the riverbank. And then suddenly he could hear out of the stones, out of the mountain came the trolls, and they were drumming and drumming and drumming and drumming. And the elves, because it was elves, they were dancing even more. And the trolls were drumming and drumming and drumming. And now they were gathering around the pine tree, the beautiful pine tree with its long green hair. And out of the tree came the queen of the forest. Out came Skogsrå, Skogssnuva eller Huldra. And she was beautiful dressed. But if you were watching carefully, you could see that there was a little tail under the skirt. And suddenly it was as if she didn't have anything on her skin, her golden bronze skin. You could see it in between the red long hair, and she was dancing with her great power from the earth with fire and passion. And now she was trying to tempt the young man to make him come and dance with her, because she longed for him to come and dance with her. But he was keeping his hands on the rock. And for sure, he also had made a circle around him. And suddenly, everything was quiet. Everything stopped. The music stopped. And all the trolls, the elves, the skogsrå, they were gone. Remember my words. Remember our agreement. He heard a voice. And when he looked down at his feet, there was the most beautiful, beautiful fiddle. And he took it into his arm like a child. And he started to play. From morning to night, he was playing and playing and playing and playing. And now he became the musician of the villages. Every Wednesday evening, when the young couples were gathering to dance in the crossroads, he was there playing. And so it continued. But after a while, they enjoyed his dancing. He's playing and they're dancing. But then there was someone come, hey, you play so beautiful. Don't you have a new song to play? He didn't listen to that. He continued to play. And next time there was, hey, you're such a beautiful musician. Don't you have a new song to play for us? Hey, come on now, let's play a new song. But he didn't listen. He just continued to play the songs he knew. So it happened. There was a wedding. It was a big, big wedding where everybody in the village, in the villages all around, they were gathered. And the musician was there. He was well dressed in his traditional costume. And he was playing soft music for the bride and the groom. And he played for the relatives and he played for the children, and they were eating good food and they were drinking good drinks. And maybe he took 1 or 2 or 3 or I don't know. I'm not sure. After a while, someone said, "You're the best musician all around here. But today, we really want you to play a new song, something fresh, something that we have never heard before." I don't know if it was the pride of the fiddler that he had heard too many good things, or if he was fed up with a question, or if it was too many drinks. But something happened. Now I will play something you never forget. And you know what he played? He started to play. What a soft music. Oh, wow, that's a song. Wow, what a beautiful song. That's a hot song. Oh, come on, let's it's enough. You can stop now. No. But he couldn't stop. He couldn't stop playing because it wasn't he who was playing anymore. It was some magic power. It wasn't he moving his hand. And people were screaming, "Stop, stop." They were hanging over each other. And now he started to walk out of the house, walking out of the farmhouse, walking out of the gates. And all the people were dancing, screaming, bleeding, begging after him. Even the chairs and the tables were dancing. And they were walking towards the lake. Now there was a charcoal burner who had worked in the forest. He wasn't at that party. So the spell hasn't come on him. And now he saw the dancing people, screaming, shouting, and the fiddler walking towards the big lake. He understood immediately what it was. He was not a man of prayer, but he had his knife with a shining steel. So he ran towards the fiddler and he cut the strings, and there was a scream out in the air. Everyone fell to the ground, crying, moaning, paining, bleeding. But they were safe. So we have a lot to learn from nature, from the spirits in the nature. But we also have to respect them. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. That was beautiful. That was just beautiful. I love the way the mist and the elves. I could visualize them dancing to the music, and I could see the boy getting attracted towards. I forget the word he used. It's difficult to get those words, but the beautiful lady who was trying to call him to join him, I could so clearly visualize that. That was so beautiful. But why this story, Marina? Any reason for picking this particular story?
Yes, actually, I was thinking I want to tell a story from Sweden because I am in Sweden. I love to tell Greek stories, some Indian stories, and some stories from other traditions. But I just feel that I need to tell some of my own traditional stories because they are forgotten. They are and now when we I mean the stories, it's both the connection with the nature that in my tradition, actually the Swedes, we have a great connection with the nature because people have been working, our ancestors, they have been working in the forest, and there were many dangers, but also good things if you respect nature. And I think because we have cut off, we have of course there has been many bad things using these stories also, but there are also stories teaching people, the children or adults, about the dangers in life. Not only in the forest, you have to be aware of things in the forest, but also like I used this story once. I came to a school. I was supposed to do another program. And then they say, oh, we have a theme today and you will have 10 groups. And okay, you have a theme. So what is the theme? Yeah, we have alcohol and drugs. Okay, why didn't you tell me? And I was like this, what story can I tell? What story can I tell? What story? And then suddenly this story came to me about young people when you are attracted to something that could be very nice to do. You need to be brave, but sometimes there is danger there and you have to be aware, because if you go too far, something bad will happen to you. You will get stuck. And that is what those stories in the older time, it was like, you're not supposed to eat and drink with the spirits of the nature, because then you will get stuck there. Mm-hmm. You can be good to them. And if you're good and nice to them, they can give you a gift. that can help you in your life. But you have to understand that there's a border that you have to be aware of. And I think that's also in life. Sometimes when we are brave, when we are leaving our security and do new things, we are open, we want to learn, but we also have to remember to not lose ourselves. Or what can happen if we break the agreements, like he forgot, he wasn't supposed to play this beautiful song, this. But I can also understand how attracted he was to that, to play this song. And then I also think, as we are storytellers, we are musicians, we are artists, we need to be open, to open our senses, that, and to make our stories better with we have to spice our stories with our senses and imaginations. And yeah, I can tell you so many things about this, but I stop here. Maybe someone wants to ask something.
Yes, can I invite the audience, both here and online, if somebody wants to share something?
May I, Pratigya, Rohini here?
Yes, Rohini, please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, Marina, I would like to say that you're so beautiful. I just couldn't take my eyes off you, especially your plate. It's so beautiful. And coming to the story, you've created such a vivid imagery, like, and the detailings was amazing. And especially, when the elves, when the trolls were coming, the drumming and all, it was so rhythmic. You have just transported us into a fantasy world, I could say. You just appeared in between when you were describing the queen. You just looked like a snow queen to me. So it was fantastic. I really loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rini. Thank you.
Yes, anybody else would like to have a word? Eric, would you want to share something?
I just got back to my office and tuned in. Please forgive me.
Oh, that's all right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marina. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Loads of
Thank you for
clarity.
inviting me. Thank you.